His workout was his life. That was his livelihood. He enjoyed it. He did it every day. As long as it wasn't raining, Ahmaud was running. I used to be concerned about him running because where he lived, the vehicles and it's like 18-wheelers, the trucks, the traffic is crazy.
That's Ahmaud Arbery's Aunt Thea talking about what Ahmaud liked to do, which was run. I mean, you could kind of tell by the way he was built that he's built like a runner. Jogging through that neighborhood, ends up getting pursued by 3 men in 2 pickups, ends up shot and killed in broad daylight. That trial is ongoing, and Julia Janae, Court TV legal correspondent, joins us tonight from Brunswick, Georgia, where it's all happening. Julia, I understand there's a new filing in the case.
Vinny, that's right. It's a state brief. They want to be able to tell this jury that Ahmaud, as a habit, was a runner, and that there are people who can confirm that and say some of the same things we just heard his Aunt Thea Brooks talk about. So they filed this brief to make sure that the court doesn't think that they will be opening the door when they do that. They say the state anticipates that it will present several lay witnesses who knew that Ahmaud Arbery knew him personally, or who saw him running or jogging in his neighborhood or in the surrounding neighborhoods in Brunswick, Georgia. The state's intention is not to offer these witnesses as character witnesses, nor to offer any evidence of Mr. Arbery's general good character. Rather, these witnesses are being offered as fact witnesses about Ahmaud Arbery being an avid runner. Now, the defendants, according to the state, have repeatedly in their motion said that they believe the state will open the door to both Ahmaud Arbery's prior acts and his mental health by inadvertently providing the jury with character evidence, despite the state's intention for them to be fact witnesses to Ahmaud running. Now, we know this jury is going to be shown video from several different angles, surveillance video even, of Ahmaud before and after he was inside Larry English's home. Here's a shot across the street of him going into English's home, and then later you see him running away. We know the defense says that it was about what was in their client's state of mind, that when they were chasing Arbery, they believed he was running away from them, and that was the reason that they were trying to effectuate this citizen's arrest. The state wants to make it clear that when they put these witnesses on the stand who say he loved to run, that they won't be in any way opening the door with character evidence for the defense to then bring in things that have been excluded, like Arbery's mental health treatment or his prior run-ins with the law.
Okay, and what's the latest in jury selection as we wait for this trial to really begin with opening statements?
Vinny, we're about a third of the way there as far as getting qualified jurors so these attorneys can start using their peremptory strikes. We have 23. We need 41 more to make an entire panel of 64. Here's a look at the breakdown of the week. Tuesday, 8 potential jurors were qualified, 7 on Wednesday, 8 yesterday after a really long day. So 41 more needed. If they get 8 every day next week, maybe 9 on Friday, then they would be able to start using their strikes perhaps by the beginning of next week, but it easily could be a much longer than anticipated jury selection.
Amazing. All right, Julie Janae, stand by. I want to take a look at an interview you actually did with Franklin and Laura Hogue, who are the attorneys for Greg McMichael. And a lot of talk about the citizen's arrest law in Georgia and how it may be used in this trial. Take a listen.
The initial actions by the McMichaels we will put under the rubric of the citizen's arrest law. They had reasonable and probable grounds, which is the language from the statute, to believe that Ahmaud Arbery was fleeing from the commission of a felony, not necessarily having committed one that very day. It's not required that he has just committed one, and there's no evidence that he had committed one that day, but that they reasonably suspected that he was the guy they had seen on 4 previous video occasions and 1 in-person occasion in that house at night, after the owner of the house had said on one of those visits he noticed that he was missing about $2,500 worth of electronics equipment from the house. McMichaels knew that, and it was in their minds the day Greg saw Ahmaud run past at a pretty good clip from the direction of the house. So at that point, that's when Greg decided we need to detain him so the police can come here and investigate and see who is this guy, what's he doing in our neighborhood, and what has he been doing going in that house on these prior occasions.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm out here at Satilla Shores. There's a black male running down the street.
Satilla, where at Satilla Shores?
I don't know what street we're on. Stop right there! Idiot! Stop!
And it looked to Greg like he was fleeing from someone or something that very day. It didn't look to him like he was out for a Sunday jog. As he said on the body cams contemporaneous with the event that very day, he thought that he was, as he put it, hooked up and hauling ass, that he wasn't out for a Sunday run. And then when they got in the truck to chase him, to stop him, to let the police come and investigate the matter, the neighbor down the street, Matt Albenzi, who had been on the phone with the police reporting that Ahmaud was back in the house, Ahmaud saw him, and this is on video, and then he took off running right after he saw Albenzi on the phone. When Travis and Greg come back out of the house to get in the truck to drive after Ahmaud, Matt Albenzi was down the street in front of the English house making a hand motion with his arm, which conveyed to the McMichaels, there he goes. That's the guy.
All right, let's bring back in the think tank and see how this may play in front of a jury. Eklund Mercy, you're in Georgia. So what do you think about a Georgia jury hearing about the citizen arrest laws being the premise for the initial chase?
I mean, to be real honest, it's going to be up to how many races we have on the jury, because all I heard from the, he was running while black. So we really have to see who has implicit bias against black people, because I don't hear what kind of threat he made. If you're trying to stop him, you could stop him by calling the police and wait for the police. He didn't have any weapons. He didn't do anything wrong. At the time, he went to the house where other people went into the home. So when he left, just call the police. You actually worked with law enforcement. You knew better.
Well, they called police during the chase. During the chase,
and that's
he's on the phone with police.
They shouldn't have been chasing him. He could run. He could run. And you know what? You have a cell phone. You made footage. You recorded him. You could have recorded him and waited for the police and gave the police that footage. No, they wanted to lynch that man, and that's what happened.
Ian Freeman, they're going to say they wanted to detain him for police under Georgia's citizen arrest law. What do you think?
So that's going to require, I mean, look, that's the only defense they have, first off. But it's going to require the jury to really look at the elements of the citizen's arrest statute, which, of course, as we know, due to this case, is no longer in play in Georgia. But you heard the lawyer state a moment ago some of the words that the jury is going to have to focus on. Was it reasonable? Was there probable cause? What bothers me about that is when you're using those terms and then you say, like we just heard him say, well, it's not that we're saying there were crimes committed that day or felony that day, but in days past. I think a jury's really going to say, wait a second, is that reasonable? That perhaps days earlier, this could be the person that was doing it. You take into effect all of the other optics involved in this case, the back of the pickup truck and the shotguns and everything else. And that's where I think the defense is going to have its hardest time, is that this claim is going to be found to be unreasonable by the jury, which will then, in effect, lead to a finding of guilt.
Bernard, I'll give you the final word. We have about 30 seconds.
In regards to this citizen's arrest, Vinny, I just don't see it. I mean, it's an old law, antiquated. I'm glad that it has since been repealed. It's going to depend who is on that jury. Who is on that jury, and how is it that people in that community act and react on a daily basis? It's all going to come down to the jury, Vinny. That's it.
All right, let's bring back in Julia Janae, who is in the midst of all the jury selection. What can we expect on Monday?
Vinny, 20 more people will be coming here to the Glenn County Courthouse to go through voir dire. We also might get a ruling from the judge if there's a motion by the defense on something they raised this week about the protesters outside and a banner that they want removed because they think it influences jurors.
All right, Julie J., we'll see you on Monday. Thank you so much.